No one saw this coming, not even Ferrari. After a hyper-sure showdown at the Australian Grand Prix, an unexpected request from two of the sport's biggest names sent shockwaves through the paddock. Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc, both known for their fierce determination on track, left everyone stunned by asking Ferrari something unusual, something that's now become the talk of every Formula One circle. What exactly did they ask, and what made them take such a bold step? The 2025 Australian Grand Prix, held at Melbourne's unpredictable Albert Park, turned out to be a tough race for Ferrari. Rain showers came and went across the circuit, throwing strategy plans into chaos. In a sport where tire selection can win or lose a race, Ferrari found themselves once again caught off guard. Charles Leclerc, who began the race from the middle of the grid, struggled throughout. The constantly changing conditions made it nearly impossible for him to settle into any rhythm. After a hard-fought race, he could only manage to finish 8th, far from where a Ferrari driver hopes to be. Meanwhile, Lewis Hamilton, making his first official race appearance in red after leaving Mercedes, had to settle for just a single point, a disappointing debut that neither he nor the team had imagined. There was a moment of promise. During a safety car phase, Hamilton took a bold call to switch to dry tires earlier than others. For a while, it looked like Ferrari had made a game-changing move. Their timing was sharp, and with the track briefly drying up, there was hope they could claw their way up the grid, but that hope was short-lived. Just a few laps later, the rain came back heavier. What seemed like a well-timed risk quickly turned into a major setback. Drivers who had stayed out on wet tires suddenly had the upper hand. The track became slippery, and Ferrari's grip, both literally and metaphorically, started slipping away. Both drivers missed out on better results. And the disappointment didn't end there. Once the race ended, the mood inside the Ferrari garage was anything but upbeat. Both Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton made their frustration clear in post-race interviews. They didn't hold back while speaking about the issues they faced, especially the team's struggle to respond effectively to changing track conditions. Leclerc pointed out that the team needs to act faster when the weather shifts, as slow reactions continue to cost them valuable points. He emphasized how difficult it was to maintain control and pace when the grip kept fading unexpectedly. For a driver who thrives on precision and timing, this kind of inconsistency throws everything off balance. Hamilton, on the other hand, seemed especially unsettled. For someone with multiple world titles and a deep understanding of race dynamics, the outcome was a reality check. This wasn't how he envisioned his Ferrari chapter starting. He mentioned that while he knew adapting would take time, he didn't expect the car's response in wet conditions to be so far off from what he was used to. What made it worse was that Ferrari had shown brief flashes of good strategy. The decision to go for dry tires under the safety car had potential. Had the rain held off, things might have ended very differently. But once the weather turned again, Ferrari's gamble backfired. The return of heavy rain in the final laps caught them out. Their earlier tire change, instead of helping, dragged both drivers down. Rivals who waited longer to switch tires ended up gaining the edge. Ferrari's pit wall, once again, misread the weather window, a mistake that cost them dearly. As the standings took shape after the race, it became clear Ferrari still has work to do. Technical upgrades, faster strategy calls, and better anticipation of shifting track conditions are no longer optional. If they want to catch up with frontrunners like Red Bull and McLaren, change has to come, and it has to come soon. Ferrari's troubles didn't just begin in Australia. They've been simmering for a while, and now it's becoming clear that some of those old weaknesses haven't been fixed. Charles Leclerc pointed out how his team still struggles to handle unpredictable weather. He seemed genuinely puzzled about the kind of performance gap Ferrari needs to close to truly compete with the best. In one of his interviews, Leclerc mentioned that while Ferrari seems to be on par with Mercedes in terms of raw pace, that's not enough anymore. According to him, the real challenge lies in matching the speed and consistency of teams like Red Bull and McLaren, especially when conditions aren't ideal. He also spoke about something Ferrari fans have heard before: the car's difficulty in adapting when the weather keeps shifting. Whether it's light rain or a drying track, Ferrari often finds itself unsure. Sometimes they lose traction at critical moments. Other times, they fail to strike the right balance in setup, making it harder for drivers to push without risking control. This isn't new, Leclerc admitted, frustration clearly in his tone. We've had this issue for several seasons now. These technical gaps don't just hurt lap times, they disrupt race strategy altogether. A car that can't handle change quickly forces the pit wall into taking risks or making hesitant calls, and in Formula One, hesitation is expensive. One specific mistake during this race stood out. As rain started to return, Ferrari hoped the weather would stay manageable and decided to keep both cars on dry tires. It was a bold choice, one that could have paid off had the track not turned slippery again. But that's not how things went. By the time they realized it was getting worse, it was too late. The delayed pit stop meant they lost crucial seconds. Instead of moving forward, they slipped further behind. Leclerc didn't hide his feelings. Afterward, in a quiet yet firm tone, He called it a clear error in judgment, as the dust settled after the race. It was clear this result had left a lasting impression, not just on fans, but on the drivers themselves. Leclerc's disappointment wasn't just about this single event. It reflected a growing concern over Ferrari's ability to make the right calls at the right time. That was a golden chance, he said. In these types of conditions, when everything is uncertain and we're already lacking pace, the only way to gain ground is by taking the right risks. Unfortunately, we didn't. His frustration echoed that of many within the Ferrari camp. The decision to stay on dry tires, hoping for a window that never came, turned a possible recovery into a missed opportunity. And it wasn't just about tires from the lights out. Ferrari looked like they were struggling to keep pace with the front of the grid. They weren't fast enough on dry asphalt, nor adaptable enough when the rain changed everything. Hamilton too had a difficult outing. He spoke about the race as one of his most complicated starts in a new car. Having joined Ferrari with big hopes, his first weekend left him feeling unsettled. A new car, a new team, new systems, and none of it working together in harmony. He revealed there had even been communication issues with his engineer, which led to misinformed choices, especially around pit timing. He thought the rain would ease, so he stayed out on degrading tires. But the rain came back heavier, and staying out longer ended up costing him more positions than he could recover. He admitted it was a tough experience, but remained calm, stating that it's part of learning with a new setup. We're just getting started. I have full faith in the people around me, Hamilton said. Despite the chaos, he remains hopeful, and perhaps that's the only positive takeaway for Ferrari. Both drivers are pushing. Both still believe the season can be saved, but it won't happen without changes. The Australian Grand Prix served as a warning. If Ferrari wants to compete seriously in 2025, they need to fix their weak spots fast. From technical improvements to smarter race day decisions, everything must improve. Because in Formula One, there's no margin for repeated mistakes. Now, the real question is, can Ferrari respond in time? Will they rise and deliver when it matters most? Time will tell.